You're listening to Grounded Girl. With me, Jazzy Post.
Here we go. Hello, everybody. You're listening to Grounded Girl, and I'm here with Jennifer Laycock, Leggy Jen on Instagram.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with the beautiful Jazz.
Oh, it's so good to have you here. Awesome. Okay, so how do we know each other, Jen?
How do we know each other? Well, I got to meet Jazz. Jazz was working at the same hospital as I was. So we were working for the Starlight Foundation, and Jazz popped in as part of the teenage program, and she was lit up the room straight away. Everyone loved her, staff and young people. Yeah. So I worked with sort of like the younger kids, and Jazz worked with the teenagers.
Yes. And sometimes there's like a craft table in the Starlight Express room at the Children's Hospital, and we would often meet there, I felt.
Yes.
And talk
I
about.
feel like we were drawn to the craft table.
Yes, and you actually taught me how to make pom-poms. So thank you.
An essential skill. Oh, we should say that we were working entertaining the kids.
Yes,
people are probably like, what were they doing in a hospital making pom-poms? We were doctors.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. So, okay, Jen, who the bloody hell are you? Who are you? Where did you grow up?
Well, my name is Jennifer. I grew up in Cairns, and I lived there with my family, and I went to school there, and I finished school, and then I moved to Toowoomba to study uni. Go to uni.
That's interesting. A move from Cairns to Toowoomba. What made you choose Toowoomba?
That is such a good question. I wanted to do acting. I think I put about 6 different things down on, what's it called? Like the Q-Tac. I put down acting. I put down marine biology. I think I put down psychology, all different things. And I just put down acting as first, and I heard Toowoomba was a good university for it.
Cool.
And I got into it, and I was like, okay. And I didn't even look up where Toowoomba was. I had no idea where it was.
Yeah.
And then my mom and I just packed up and drove there, and she dropped me off there. It was such an adventure. And I was like, where am I?
So was it just you and your mum living in Cairns at the time, or do you have brothers and sisters that you were living with?
I have a brother and sister and my dad as well. Mum just drove me down.
Wow.
And
what a mum.
She flew back. I know, what a mum.
Is she your mummager in a way, or no?
In some ways. She's my like environmental influence, like, because now I do a lot of environmental work. So since uni, I studied overseas doing clown, and I do a lot of comedy stuff.
So you did clowning overseas?
I did. I got a scholarship after uni. And
a clown scholarship
to a clown school, in France.
That's amazing.
It's a school called Philippe Gaulier. And I remember some people said to me, because I was doing face painting as like a job during uni, and people were like, Jen, I'm so glad you're taking face painting seriously. And I was like, what? And they thought I was going to do clown school to become a better like face painter. What? And I was like, that's such an expensive feat. But clown is like a type of acting style, and that's why I was going there.
Wow, that is so cool. So did you need to speak French? Do you know French?
No, you didn't need to speak French. The school is in English.
Cool.
And so there was people from all around the world. It was pretty amazing. I met people from all over Asia, America, Europe.
Wow.
And everyone was speaking in their own languages on stage, but you didn't have to speak French. So I didn't get to learn as much French as I wanted, because you were hanging out with these people from all different places, and sort of the language in common was English.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting.
It was really cool. Yeah.
So how did you go from clown school then in France to in Brisbane, where you're doing your writing and starring in your own productions?
Well, I went from, my partner Nick, he came to clown school too.
Yes.
And so we lived in Europe for the year.
Oh my God, didn't Nick go to clown school too?
Yeah, Nick went as well.
Oh, that makes sense. Because
just for context, Nick works at Starlight too.
Yes, Nick works at Starlight, and you two together look like a cartoon duo. Like you were drawn by the same artist. Does that make sense?
Which is so funny, because Jasmine, I'm just talking to my phone. Can you bring that cartoon picture over there? We actually have a cartoon picture of us drawn together. Yeah.
I have to see this.
That our housemate did. If you're listening to this on the podcast,
Yes.
I can't explain it to you quite, but look at that.
Oh,
Isn't
yes.
so cool?
Yes.
So we are a cartoon duo.
You are a cartoon duo, definitely.
And that was actually our house, a picture of us in front of our house when we first moved to Brisbane back from clown school.
That is so cute.
Yeah, very cute. So we came back from France and we needed a job, and that's when Nick first started working at Starlight.
Yeah, right.
Because he worked there, and then a year later I got the job, and I had started Art for Earthlings, which is my company, before I went to France. It was actually my university project because my passions were like, I love acting and I love to save the planet. Yes. And I was like, how do I combine them together? So what we do is make comedy shows about the environment. And that's sort of how that started. Yeah.
Amazing. And are they targeted towards children or kids or teenagers or all ages?
Well, we have one show that we've done this year called Holy Bit of Molly, and that's for kids, but it's also for just as much for adults because we wanted to make it, sometimes kids shows can be maybe a bit cringy or talk down to kids or patronizing. So we wanted to make sure it was like fun and fresh and also fun for adults too. And then I have a show called Plastica Fantastica, and that's for teenagers and adults.
Cool.
And then we've just started another one about fast fashion, and that's for adults, teenagers too.
Amazing. I love that. I used to work in fast fashion and I had to get out because
you
it
had
was
to get
just
out. Oh yes, I saw on your Instagram you're a photographer.
Yeah, and graphic design.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did that in fast fashion for 4 years. But
how was that?
What's happened? Is something fallen?
No, I'm looking at Nick because he's being noisy.
Oh, it looked like something was about to fall.
No, I was like trying to give my facial expression like to you contently, but Nick's like opening the noisiest drawer in the house.
That's it.
Okay.
That's fine. Let him live.
Jazz says, let him live.
Let him live.
So you worked in fast fashion.
Yes, but so that is, I'm really interested in that. That's awesome that you're making something that's about that subject because it is such a massive waste, isn't it, that industry? And Australia's the worst, aren't we?
Yeah, we are quite bad for that area, absolutely.
Wear things once, throw it away.
Yes, yeah. And I think the internet and stuff, how easy the internet can be accessed now makes it even more difficult because we're always seeing these constant trends and new things popping up with TikTok and things like that.
Yes.
So I started making a show with my friend Sam, who also works at Starlight. Yes. It's like we all stay together.
So good.
And originally it was just about fast fashion.
Yeah.
Originally it was just about fast fashion, but then we were looking into the toxicity of the fashion industry as a whole. So in the show we're also addressing in those 90s classic movies where there's a shopping makeover.
Yes.
And in Princess Diaries, and she takes her glasses off and she's got her curly hair and they straighten her hair and they take her glasses off and then she's beautiful.
Yeah.
We were just trying to unpack why is that the way?
Is it? I watch so much stuff now and I'm like, was Harvey Weinstein to do with this? It's almost like all of it is so now in 2022, it just seems so backwards and sexist. A lot of the content that I used to love and watch
and we grew up on.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. We started with the fast fashion focus, but now we're looking at all different ways that the fashion industry has effects
very
on us.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Plastica Fantastica.
Mm-hmm.
So that is, I saw you were playing the lead who is Nunny.
Yes.
And can you tell us a bit about Nunny?
Yes, Nunny is wild.
Wild.
So
I just love that
wish
name.
You could see it. I feel like, Well, the reason it was Nunny because I actually came up with the character at clown school and we had to change our accents in this character course we did.
Right.
And I did this this voice, and I said, "Hi, I'm Noni," and I couldn't say anything else. So I just say, "Hi, I'm funny," or "Hi, I've got money," and because I couldn't work out how to say anything else in this character's voice. But yeah, so that's how that started. And I remember I found the costume from a flea market in Switzerland. It was so random.
That's
So
awesome.
it all had these random attributes to it. And then I applied for this festival when I got back from France. And you have to make a 10-minute piece of theatre.
Wow.
And I remember I was really annoyed because I was sick of people using plastic bags at the shops. And I was like, why do people still using plastic straws? And I remember I made it just was angry typing on my laptop, and I just wrote this play in 10 minutes, this 10-minute play.
It just came out of you.
Yeah, it just came out of me, and I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And everyone is making so much noise.
Oh, that's okay.
There's like 3 people watching me. I told them to stay in the bedroom.
Because you're captivating.
Sorry, podcast viewers. So I made this show, and basically it's about a woman who's addicted to plastic, and she finds out she's allergic. So it's a parody on if you can't use plastic, you can't use a plastic straw anymore, or you can't eat any food because you can't use a plastic bag.
Yes.
So it's taking everything to the extremity.
Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I found that people like to laugh, but people don't like to be told what to do or attacked. Sometimes there's really sad videos, like that classic one with the turtle and the straw. There's this turtle with a straw in its nose, and people for me that makes me so sad. But when people are given a really sad image like that, or people you might get up someone, people go like this and they close off.
Yes.
Yes. So I think that doing it through comedy, you laugh and you have a good time, and then the hope is that you go home and you reflect on
Yes, well, you've disarmed them with the humor.
Yeah.
Because everybody's equal when things are funny, and you let your guard down and don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So what are the big takeaways that you want people to unpack after they've seen your show?
Just maybe if they go to a cafe, or it's pretty good now because I created the show 3 years ago, and there's a lot of plastics that are banned now, but maybe if you go to the supermarket and you go to get one of those little plastic bags for your apples, you can be have a thought, and maybe the thought to yourself would be a chuckle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to think of Nunny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so it's a funny moment, maybe. I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's
and
awesome.
people have told me they have had those moments, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you write, is it often like that? Are you channeling something? Are you channeling a frustration or I don't know, or do you sit down with an intention, or are you releasing or is it not really ever that? I don't know.
Yeah, it can be all different ways. It feels therapeutic at times, because you're just letting go, or sometimes I usually go I want to create a show, for example, of the fast fashion thing. So I will have that topic, and then sometimes I'll put an alarm on, and I'll just put an alarm on for 20 minutes and just write for 20 minutes and see what comes out.
Wow. So you just go into another zone.
Yeah, I find that works well. And I just maybe find games or fun little things which make me happy, and then I just go with that.
That's cool. And do you have music that you like to listen to, or do you have a chair you like to be in? What's your magic setup to lift off?
A clean house.
A clean house.
I feel me, once everything's clean, you can just sit down, and then I just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find that is a lot nicer.
Yeah, cool. Oh,
yeah.
It's so interesting that you're writing and you're acting, and so does Nick also write?
Yes, Nick also writes.
Yes.
He's here. He can pop in. Oh, no,
Yeah.
he's walking away.
Whenever
So
he's
he
whenever
also writes, and my friend Sam, she also writes as well. So we all like write on collaboration, and sometimes we get a big corkboard and we have different ideas. We cut them onto little pieces of paper and we stick them up on the corkboard. And so we'll put all our ideas there, and we might move them around and be like, okay, this one's good, or we'll take this one away.
Yeah.
And we'll get up on the floor and we'll try the different ones out to see how they go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds like you've got it really down pat, like a real system, like you guys are a real
It
team
works at
there.
the moment. Sometimes it's chaotic.
Sometimes it's chaotic.
Yeah, but beautiful things can be made in chaos.
Well, I wonder, because like being in like writing and releasing things, it's quite a vulnerable thing to do, and you're quite used to performing now. You've been doing it for a while, but do you ever get nervous, and did you ever get nervous, or like has that ever been an issue for you? Have you always been comfortable in front of performing?
So before I went to clown school, I would get nervous, yeah.
Yes.
But ever since I've come back, I've gotten less nervous, because at Goliath, there's this philosophy of like, you perform for pleasure.
Yes.
And if you're not having fun and if you're not in love with what you're doing, then what's the point of doing that on stage? You should be trying something else, because if I'm not doing something I love on stage, you're not going to love watching me.
Yes.
And we also, how do I explain? And we also like had to stop thinking about what we were doing. So often when you're on stage, you're like, okay, what's that person thinking of me? Oh, I've got to remember this next line. You're not present in the moment.
Yes.
So when I learned to just be present and just listen to the audience and work out what was like if they were laughing, they're liking it, or if they weren't laughing, like what do I do?
Yes.
And just performing for pleasure, I don't get as nervous anymore, because I'm like, oh no, I'm excited to do this.
Yes, that's very freeing. That's very freeing. And it's almost like that is the fear, because the love is right to be in the moment and to be expressing and just creating, but it's the mind that's almost like wants to take you out of that and up into another little frenzy of like, what's going on, and why should you look at me like that, and oh no, I've got an itch in my throat. Like,
for sure. So now I just feel like I just am excited to go and do it. But like last night, I performed our fast fashion show for the first time.
Oh my God, how was that?
Yeah, it was so awesome. And I was a little bit nervous for that, because I hadn't done something new for so long.
Where was that?
It was at a Metro Arts in Brisbane.
Awesome.
It's a theatre here in Brisbane. So it was at a variety night, and the variety night was called Brisbane. So two good friends run it. And they get all local Brisbane acts, and we were the comedy act for the night. So we just did a 10-minute spot. And yeah, there was like almost 100 people there. We had the best time. It was so fun.
That's so good.
Yeah. So it was really like the cup feels full that it worked and it went well. So we're really keen to expand it.
Wow, that's awesome. What are your...
I feel like...
Sorry, keep going.
It's like it could be a touchy subject, fast fashion and things like that. So we had to...
Yes, exactly, because most of the people who are probably there in the audience are like, well, I just got this... come in the mail today.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I think it's probably just to be honest, I think there's a bit of just lack of awareness of how wasteful that industry really is, and how toxic it is, and how much it preys on your insecurities really to get you just to buy. It just sees you as a consumer, not a person, because it's business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
So when you said your mum gets you with your environmental passion, that's where you got that from. Yeah. What does that look like? Like, are you a vegetarian? Have you grown up vegetarian? Like, who's your mum? What's that story?
Well, my mum's always been pretty environmental. She's even more so now.
Yep.
But I remember like when we were younger, like in primary school, I started the environmental club.
Cute.
No one signed up. And I was like, that's why I didn't have any friends.
You're little Lisa Simpson. You don't make friends with salad.
And I know, don't make friends with salad, but I would go around at lunchtime, and there was
Yes.
only one bin. There wasn't recycling bins. There was just the one bin, and I would pick out with a pair of tongs
Oh my God.
all the recycled items.
So cute.
And no one, of course, looking back on that, I'm like, no one would want to do that. My brother's girlfriend's laughing at me right now. I don't think she knew that story.
Oh, that's so cute.
And so, yeah, no one else would participate in the club. So
Yeah.
I would be going around doing that. And looking back, I'm like, it definitely wasn't a good start to my social career,
Yes.
but it was a good start to my social justice career.
Yes.
Yeah. So I did that, and that was definitely of mum's influence. And then I became vegetarian when I was 10 because we had cows in the paddock behind us. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't like eat at the same time. So I've been a vegetarian, pescatarian since I was 10, and I'm basically vegan now. And yeah, my mum went plastic free. Oh, how long ago? A long time ago. And she started this great Facebook page called No Waste, No Worries. And she doesn't use it as much now, unfortunately, but she got like a huge amount of followers. I think she got like 10,000 followers at one point. And like she was in a newspaper, and she was teaching people how to reduce their waste. So she was making her own makeup. She was making like all her own food, her own cleaning products. Yeah, she's so cool. And she has like the best veggie garden ever.
Oh, that's awesome.
And she still doesn't really use a rubbish bin. Like,
that is so she barely makes any waste.
No, just recycling, and she just composts all her cardboard.
Oh, what would be like your tip? Because I'm trying to go plastic free, and it is such a process because plastic's dripping out of my ears and I didn't even realize it. And then there's microplastics, which I'm learning about. So like, where do I start?
Pardon me.
Bless you. Bless you.
Well, a lot of like little things, thank you. A lot of little things. It depends, like, because a lot of it's food-based stuff.
Yes.
Like if you're going to, my best tip, like for my friends, is when they go to get sushi, I'm like, ask for a paper bag. Like they have them instead of like the plastic casing.
Yes.
And
because those things are shocking.
Ask for it in a serviette. Yeah.
Yes.
And don't get the little soy sauce things. You could just have your own soy sauce.
Yep. And they normally have a bottle up there anyway.
Bottle. Yeah, exactly. Or like if you're going to a bakery, ask at Brumby's or Baker's Delight, whatever one's around. I'm gluten-free. I can't eat anything fun.
No.
But like you can ask for the bread to be put straight into a paper bag.
That's cool because my bakery does plastic and I hate it. But I didn't. That's a great idea. I'm going to ask for.
Sometimes you can ask them to be like, oh, I don't want plastic. Can I just have it in before you put it in the plastic bag?
Yeah, right. So it's kind of just making that decision that you're not going to accept plastic in your life.
Yeah.
And then like going out and being intentional about that.
Yeah. And I was pretty good at it, but I've had to be slack when I get busy, and it is a thing. But like there's so many things that you can make yourself. Like you can make slices yourself. You can make biscuits yourself. You can make date balls yourself. You know, there's so many different things.
Yes.
And often, even though I know those like plastic free stores seem more expensive, but I guess because I'm vegetarian, I don't spend money on meat.
Yes.
I actually find being plastic free is a lot cheaper because then you're automatically cutting out all those snacks like muesli bars and chips and all those kinds of excess food, and you're just going to the markets. I think the markets is a great way to get stuff plastic free because you can often get mushrooms and strawberries and berries and things like that, and taking your own containers to those places.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
What other good markets in Brisbane that you would recommend?
Oh, in Brisbane, I don't know what my favourite market in Brisbane is. I go away. I used to go to Mount Gravatt markets, and sometimes I go to West End.
Okay, West End is very good.
West End is good, but I actually love the Sunshine Coast markets. I think they're much better.
Do you think? Yeah, Sunny Coast is where it's at.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and Noosa does they've got some really good organic stalls there.
Yes.
Yeah, I like Sunshine Coast.
Nice.
And Adelaide, of all places.
Really? Oh, speaking of Adelaide,
the best.
You guys got the award for the Fringe Festival there.
We got yes, we got 2 awards. We got a
Two
weekly
awards?
award for our kids show.
Yes.
So you get a weekly nomination for Best Kids Show, and then we won the Sustainability Award for our kids show as
congratulations.
well. Yeah, which is very exciting. It was the debut of our kids show. It was super fun. We had a great time. Yeah, it was so fun. It was awesome we've wanted to do a kids show for so long. Like, we work with kids, so it was good to be able to be like, we can make a kids show.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
And do you find that you use the kids that you're entertaining at the hospital as a mini audience to test out material?
We don't really test out material, but I think we use it in a way that we're so good at like improvising and working off each other.
Yes.
Because with kids shows, we found like every show we did, kids were yelling out stuff or like like we were being heckled, but you can just like improvise and go with the flow because we do that every day anyway.
That's right. Yes, definitely. And I'm
Like,
just wondering, because you're such a creative person, you've got so many different things happening in like here, there, and then you've got things that you probably haven't even mentioned that you're cooking up at the moment. What gives you that creative electricity? Where do you get that from? Is it like, how do you source that?
I think I'm somebody with maybe too many ideas at some point. So you're like,
I can relate to that, definitely.
Yeah, and you've got all these different things on the go, and sometimes maybe it would be better just to focus on a couple and get them done.
Yes.
But then what feels then?
But then, like, that's hard. But then sometimes some things are just meant to be at the pace that they're meant to be, and you've got to sow a few seeds to not just put it all. I think it's probably a wise thing. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket either.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is it, so what I'm wondering is, like, is it nature, or is it like you're being with family and friends? Is it thrift shopping? Like, what fills you up?
I think it's like a mixture of making people laugh, because I do love that.
Yes.
And making new stuff that people haven't seen, like that. I really get a lot of joy from making something that's different and unique.
Yes.
Like, the greatest compliment would be like, I've never seen anything like it, for me, I think.
Yes.
And then I definitely fueled by change as well, because how can like you not be, right? If you can do something you love and also make a difference, for me, that's like, in whatever I do, I feel like that would be the goal.
So when you say doing what you love, how have you known what you love? Have you always done what you love? Have you always had that in you where I'm just going to do what I want to do?
No, I feel like no, not when you're younger. Like, I was in a small town. I'm from Cairns.
Yes.
And like,
what was that like? Were you different? Were you like?
I was shyer.
You were shyer?
I think so. I think I was more shy.
Yep.
And I remember, like, I went away for uni, and then I came back to Cairns, and I was wearing like a pair of overalls, and now that seems like standard. But I remember walking through the shopping centre, and people were like giving me these funny looks. And I was like, that's just denim. And I was like, technically we're in the country anyway. I was like, I should be in fashion here.
Don't be afraid of the denim.
Yeah, it's very much like, go with the flow, small town vibes a little bit. And I think I was maybe not aware of as much as I am now.
Yeah.
I went to an all-girls school as well, and that came with its challenges too.
Yeah.
But even at school, like, I still knew what my values were, like the environmental thing, going through the bins. That takes a certain level of commitment.
Family backing.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
And I've always been, I think I've been quite good at standing up for what's wrong and what's right.
Yes, well, picking out the rubbish from the bin is like quite a little protester at a young age.
Yeah, and social suicide.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, I think so. Now I'm more okay with just doing stuff that's random and different and chaotic.
Yeah, well, and that seems to come through with your characters, I feel. Would you say that's accurate? I read a review of your oh, Plastica
Plastica
Fantastica.
Fantastica. Yeah.
And I read all about your amazing like body, like acting expressions, and they described it as Scottish accent, and extremely just eccentric with your body and expressive and silly. Which
I think someone once explained as like a flailing deer or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if you read that.
That's amazing.
I'm very long,
leggy, yes,
and lanky. Hence the Instagram Leggy Jen. But yeah, I just go wild. I think
that's awesome.
Because when when you have like no fear on stage, you can do whatever you want. Like
wow,
you can. It's a very freeing thing.
It would be.
Yeah.
Oh, what's like the craziest thing you've done on stage that you went, oh, have I gone too far, but you've had to commit?
Like my show is pretty. I keep pushing him. It's like pretty wild. He's a very eccentric character.
Amazing.
I've had like mistakes go wrong on stage, and I've just been like, got to go with the flow. Like I cut my finger open in Adelaide.
Oh, how bad!
On a pair of tongs, because Nunny has to use a pair of tongs because she can't touch the plastic.
Oh.
And I clipped my finger open like on the tongs, and I was bleeding. There was blood everywhere.
Oh no!
There was blood like on the wall, and I remember because I have a really short skirt. Yeah. And I had my period that night, and I was like, oh, I hope I don't bleed out. And I was like, at least I'm bleeding from my finger, so you won't be able to tell.
You
poor
poor
just
thing.
Blood everywhere. And I just had to go with it. Wow. And
that's
I was allergic to plastic in the show, and an audience member went and got me a Band-Aid, and I was like, oh no, it's made of cardboard. But yeah, I don't know, just changing it up every night, just going weird if something goes wrong.
That's awesome. I love that you
fell off the stage once. That was wild.
You fell off the stage?
Yeah.
How high was the stage?
It was only like 50 centimeters, which is still tall enough.
But that's still a fall. That's still a way.
Yeah.
And did you hurt yourself?
My knee was bleeding, and then the people in the audience thought it was part of the show. And I was like,
oh no.
And I remember I got a review that night. She was really happy with it, and I was like, I was bleeding. That wasn't part of it.
Look at that. Even when you fall off stage, you still get a raving review.
Yeah, it's fun. Just
and
go
then
with it.
How do you deal with the not so raving reviews? So I Googled you, and I saw your audition for Australia's Got Talent.
Yes, that's a thing.
And so I was like, I just pissed myself laughing because I thought you were so funny and cute, and you're in this like really cute little getup. You've got your like pants up to your chin, like you're and
still
Kyle
wear high pants to this day.
And Kyle's just like, no. And it was like, no. And I was like, wow, that is amazing that you have done that. You've been on, because I literally put on my story today that I was terrified to do the podcast in case I was like someone going on Australian Idol and I couldn't sing. That's my biggest fear, is that someone's not going to tell me, Jasmine, just sit down. No, this is not your space, because that's my fear, right? And that's obviously not you, because you're a brilliant performer and writer. But I just wonder, when you cop a blow like that, that's like a rejection, how did you get through that? Was that did you just want to get some exposure? Like, what was that like?
Well, I was only like 14 at the time.
You were 14? You look the same.
14. Yeah, I was 14. It was a long time ago.
It was so cute.
And Australia's Got Talent had gone to Cairns to like do auditions. So the TV auditions aren't the first auditions. They make it look like it. Okay. But I did 2 auditions in Cairns, and then they choose you and fly you to Brisbane.
Wow.
So like 2,000 people auditioned or something ridiculous like that. And only like 36 got chosen.
See, that's a big deal.
And I got chosen to go through. And at the Australia's Got Talent, in the mornings, they have the live audience, and they record everyone cheering. Then they record everyone booing. And then I went out and performed as like my young self doing stand-up comedy. Like I'd done it in front of my school. And
You
it
were
worked.
so brave.
And they played the booing track over it. And they have people telling people how to do the crowd, like put the X's up or something. And people were putting X's up in the crowd. But no one was booing. The track just played.
So they just put that in post-production.
They played it live as well. Yeah.
So you were up there and they were playing live booing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was traumatizing.
Holy
and then Kyle
shit.
got it, X'd me straight away. And then I was speaking for the rest of my set. I was like, whoa, 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 because it was so scary.
Oh,
I was so little. Yeah, I
you're
didn't cry
my
in front of
hero.
them, but I cried so much after.
Did you?
And they weren't even that mean to me. They were so mean to some people.
Oh man, it's brutal out there.
I remember they told some people who went with us that they got in, and then at the end of the day, they're like, "Oh, actually, no, you're not in." It's so wild.
Why is that? Just
It's so set up.
Just-
someone even when it ran after me and apologized to me.
because you're just a
Because
little
you-
girl.
I know.
So cute. Like
And now when you search my name, that's what comes up, and it has 20,000 views.
But it's actually brilliant because I thought it was just one of your Art for Earthlings characters, and I was like, amazing. She's taken one of the characters and given it a platform, and obviously done a funny sketch. Oh, that's so.
And I was in the newspaper and cans and everything. It was a big deal. And so when that had happened, I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to go on TV. This is going to ruin my life. It was the best thing that ever happened to me in my 15 years. And then it came to be the worst.
Mm.
And I never wanted to perform again. I said to Mum, I'm not performing ever again.
Yes. So how do you go from there to now? How did you get over that? What got you back in? Do you remember?
I don't know. I think I just did a school play or something. And I was like, oh, it's fine.
And then you just fell back in love and you were like, this is my comfortable place.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if I was fully in love with performing that much at school, because I didn't really do stuff that I was that interested in.
Yes.
I remember I went to get into the school musical. I was grade 12, I'm going to do the musical, final year, but I couldn't sing.
Yes.
And the teacher was like, congrats, Jen. You got, what's the main character's name in Greece? Rizzo.
Oh,
Rizzo?
yes. Yes.
You've got Rizzo. Did you see the board? And I was like, no, I didn't. And she's like, oh, you must have just got the chorus. And I was like, no, I didn't. She's like, oh, you mustn't be in the play. And I was like, what a bitch. She just ruined my dreams of being
Way to
Rizzo.
let me down easy, lady.
I know.
Oh my God.
And then somehow I still applied to do acting at uni.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
loved hearing stories like that because
Yeah.
when you do like doing something or you get something out of it, it's like, why not keep doing it just for the sake of having fun with it?
Yeah.
And now
And
look
now
at you.
Yeah, I do it as my full-time. I do Starlight, which is a performance role, but I don't have to do any other day jobs
And
now.
look, it's not going to be like this for long because can I ask how old you are?
I'm 27.
Oh, see, you're 27. See, you've got so much time. You're going to be picked up and then you're not going to have to worry about anything because you're going to be too busy writing, producing, acting.
Being famous.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm
Is that what you were after? What would make you be like, yes, I've made it. This is success. Have you had that now already?
Look, if someone gave me my own Netflix series, I wouldn't be mad about that.
Yes. So that's
But
the goal.
I don't think it's the goal. I used to be interested, film and TV is always seen as success in the arts.
Yeah.
But I think the way that I've been successful in my career is I just made everything myself.
Yes.
I made my own business. I make my own shows. I do workshops. I do all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I've been able to create an income from that. So now I like to have control over what I'm making and
It's put you in a
I
good
think-
position where you don't have to accept roles or things just for fame or just for getting your name out there because you've made roles for yourself that you enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that will help me because it's more unique in publicity anyway.
Definitely.
So
Definitely.
I don't think I really strive and obsess about this idea of fame and fortune. I just I don't know. I like the journey I'm on at the moment, I think.
Yeah, cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And obviously being playful and silly is a part of that for you because most of what you do is comedy.
Yeah.
So how do you incorporate that? How do you stay so young at heart?
I think I would encourage that's a good question. You ask good questions.
Oh,
guys,
good.
this is going to be a good podcast. You should subscribe. I actually have done a few podcasts. It's going to be a good one.
Oh, awesome.
I feel it in my bones.
Goody.
How do I stay young at heart? I think just like doing something you love, hey?
Yes.
Whether that be, even if you're doing a job that maybe you don't like, you could change to do a job you do like, but if you don't have the means to do that, learning how to knit or realizing you love gardening or building desks, I don't know, like refurbishing furniture or collecting records or drawing beautiful drawings, like finding something you love to do and keeping that as part of your life. I think that's what keeps you young at heart.
Definitely.
Maybe.
Very cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all about joy. And if you have joy, it's kind of like what I said before the performance. Like if you're my friend and you're having joy with the stuff that you're doing in your life, you're probably going to radiate that.
True.
And that's going to be an attractor or
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Very cool. Do you ever get imposter syndrome by any chance?
Imposter syndrome is like where you don't feel good enough, hey?
Yes.
Sometimes. I think I used to maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I used to when you compare yourself to people and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or just like you're going to be found out to not be, I don't know, legit or something or.
Yeah.
But it's okay if you don't have that.
I think I definitely used to get that when I didn't know what my path was.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you determine what your path is?
I think I worked it out because I found out like what I like to do, and I found out, what I'm doing is different to what other people are doing.
Yes.
But I'm just going to own that and do it.
Yes. You seem like someone who's made just, I guess, embrace their uniqueness and has just like gone with that, which is the best thing you can do because there's only one you, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's just like, life's too short. Like, why not?
Yeah, true.
And I've still made so many mistakes and I've done terrible performances and I've made all those errors and it happens, but it's all part of the process.
Yes. And you got to be kind to yourself.
Yes. Totally. Which is something I probably forget to do.
Yes.
Or like overwhelming yourself by like not giving yourself or like thinking you're not achieving enough. So you're like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yes.
And thinking you've not done enough, because I think when you're working in this industry and you're doing so many different things, it's not like you see yourself. It's not like working a 9 to 5 full-time job where you're moving up in your career.
Yes.
And you're making huge amounts of money or things like that. So sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know if I've achieved enough for my age.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I totally hear you.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, I ask because I deal with it myself and I just hear it's a really common thing that really nobody feel like everybody gets the shakes like of, ooh, how did I get here? What am I doing here? Can I do it? Can I do this? I don't know if I can. Maybe I'm an imposter. But yeah, I think that's good advice, what you've given, especially because keep going.
I was just going to say, we're in a world now where there's not just one of everything. There's not just one type of movie star. There's not just one type of lead character now of what a lead character looks like. There's not, and it's like podcasts. There's not just one kind of podcast. People listen to all these different podcasts to find one that best suits their personality. So we're in like a different world now.
We really are. And the cool thing about it is that it's just to gain community, I feel. Like for myself, I used to be a Christian, and so I used to gain a lot of community through church. And then not being in church anymore, I don't find that same. It's hard to find. Working at Starlight, there's like the best community there. Like that was somewhere, it feels like a family. But I feel that like now that it's more places like this, podcasts, or going to like productions, or going, you know, being like coming together. That's a real community there.
Yeah. And it can be hard to find that community as adults, I think.
Yeah, that's so true. Yes.
Because we usually, you know, you found it at school or uni or, you can find it. I've never experienced it at places like church or things like that, but it's hard to do it as an adult. We don't have a lot of often opportunities like that.
It's often just where you work, really, isn't it? Like that's a big, because we spend so much time at work.
Mm-hmm.
How important is your time to you? Like, are you someone that organizes your time down to the minute, or are you don't really think about it, island time, like just whenever, chill?
That's probably my biggest struggle is time management.
Time management.
Yeah. So bad.
Like running out of time?
Running out of time, prioritizing time, replying to emails on time, you know, I'm replying to messages. Time is really hard for me.
Yes.
And that's something I have to be better at.
Oh, it's so hard though, because it's really, time is just like is a construct, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And if you're being in the moment most of the time and you don't get to that email, I don't think that's such a bad thing.
Yeah, but then it gets to a point like if you replied it late, you lose a gig. Or,
that's not good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just not a naturally organized person, and it's something that I have to become much more better at.
Yes, I feel you. I actually, when I applied for my job at Starlight, I think it was Starlight, they asked, what are your weaknesses? And I said, mine is not being on time. And then I said, but I've set my clock 5 minutes fast. But I didn't.
That's great.
To help myself. But I actually hadn't done that. I just said that. And they were like, oh, you're very proactive. How good. I was like, I'm a liar.
Oh, I lied so much in my interviews. I hope they don't listen to this.
Yeah, well, I wonder how much of it is faking it till you make it.
I have faked so many gigs.
Have you?
I remember our first proper gig, paid gig for Art for Earthlings.
Yes.
I was on the phone to a council person, and they said, we'd love to do book a show.
Like as in like the government council person? Like arts council?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like a local, we do a lot of work with the council.
Cool.
And they're like, do you have a show about trees? And I said, yeah. And they said, can you tell us about it? I do not have a show about trees. And I was like, it's a show about this boy who gets a tree for his birthday and he doesn't like it. And so I made it up on the spot. And then I had 2 weeks to write the show that I had explained.
Amazing. And did you pull it off?
Yeah. I do self-propose. I call them self-proposed deadlines, right?
Okay.
Because you say something. Yeah.
And
then you got to do it.
Deadlines.
Yeah.
Oh.
I do them a lot. So someone will be like, you got something for this? And I'll say, yep.
Yes.
Or someone might say, when can you get this to me by? And I have not started it. And I'll say, 1 week.
Yeah. Good.
Because then you have to do it. So you're someone that just works better under pressure with a small amount of time to just bang it out. Yeah. Yep, I understand. Even for the gig we did last night, I didn't have something prepared. Yes. Oh, well, when I first said, I just knew I wanted to be involved in it, and I didn't have something finalized for it yet. And I said, this is my idea. Wow. We'll do it. And so we knew at this date we were going to be performing. I admire that trust in yourself. That is awesome. Like I look to that and I'm like, I want that. Like just to be like, yeah, she'll be right. I'll know what to do. It's so sick. You can do it. And I think like just try it one time. Yeah. But I guess it like can be very stressful. Yeah. That would be a downside. Because it's like, especially when you do it lots of that at once. Yes. But yeah, I think it's just that thing of like, avoiding fear. You're like, you just got to do it.
Totally do it afraid. That's been my motto. Do it afraid.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
That's an awesome motto.
Yeah, you just got to keep doing it. Yes.
Yeah. And that helps with the time management thing too, right? Because you've said that you're going to do something. You've put in your word and you've got to do it.
Yes, very true. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, do you have any spiritual beliefs yourself?
Spiritual beliefs. I believe in I went to a Catholic school.
Yeah.
And I went to Toowoomba. Toowoomba's a very Christian-driven place. I didn't know that.
Yes, it is. I used to go there for the
Easter
Fest.
Yes, it stopped while I was at uni.
That's a Christian music festival, listeners, that would happen each year.
A massive one.
A massive one. A big Hillsong money-making ka-ching, but it didn't make that much money because they had to fold.
Yeah, they did fold. And that was when I was at uni. I saw the last Easter Fest, I think.
Did you? Because your town would just be flooded then.
Yeah, it was in the first, I think the last one was my first year at uni. And everyone went to youth group, and I thought it must have been how you made friends. I didn't really know what youth group was. Yeah, I remember I went to one, and I was like, this is interesting.
Yeah, what did you think? We creeped out?
The topic was, no, because everyone who was a Christian was so cool.
Yeah.
And so trendy, so attractive. I was like, oh my gosh, if you believe in God, you get hot.
Yeah, totally.
Everyone was so trendy.
No, it's like the Hillsong
And so I
effect.
went to this one with my friend who has now come out, and then another friend who was Jewish, and we went to this one, and they're like, let us pray, and we all held hands, and I thought praying was this, I remember. And we were holding hands and looking around the room because we were confused. And the chat was, can you be gay and Christian? Yeah. And
what did they say?
The preacher was actually a really nice guy. He was like, yes, absolutely. And then some people were like, as long as you don't practice it in the church.
That's the thing, as long as you don't practice. I'm non-practicing.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And then this one boy who everyone loved, because he was like 12 out of 10. He was really attractive.
Yes.
I was like young at that time. Everyone was like, oh my God, you're so hot.
Yes.
And he put his hand up and he's like, I pray for them and I hope they get better. And I was like, my hand was going up and I was like, oh no.
What did you say?
And I was like, I don't know Jesus personally.
Yes.
But I feel like he'd be a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
And you'd hope that he would love everyone.
You think so? Given the rhetoric.
Right. And that boy, he didn't really like me after that.
No, but good for you. Good for you for saying something, because that is a really common thing.
Yeah.
That's spoken about in church, is like shame about homosexuality and almost like teetering on that. Well, you want to be politically correct, but then you just slip in, as long as you don't practice. You can be gay, but don't practice.
Yeah, lots of sneaky ones like that.
Sneaky.
That boy actually got alopecia and all his hair fell out.
Wow. Interesting.
And I was like, God is not happy.
Oh dear, no. But don't say anything about it or Will Smith will slap us.
I know.
You just come down.
Bam. But yeah, no, spiritual beliefs. I just believe in being kind.
Yes.
And I believe in putting good energy out into the world. And I think that I'd like to think that there's like some type of higher power, and that people taken too early get to experience something nice.
Yes.
But I don't I don't align with the religion.
You don't subscribe to anything.
No. Yeah. What about you?
I am probably just agnostic. Like, I don't think anybody knows, because like none of us have like died really and then spent a while and come back to say. So it's like no one knows. But I agree. I think that there's just the highest law is love and kindness, and just pretty simple. I don't think it has to be too complicated, really.
I like that too.
Yeah.
It's nice. It seems like an easier belief system, right?
Well, because you can get on with living.
Yes.
Whereas when you're worried about like doctrine and what you are allowed to do, what you aren't allowed to do, you end up spending your whole life in your head and resisting your urges and questioning yourself, and it's like a trap. You end up giving away your life for something else. Whereas like this, I feel it's like, no, this is life. I'm here now. It is what it is, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you feel freer now?
Oh, totally. Totally. Yes.
How long has that been for you?
I
feel like I'm asking you questions now.
Yeah. That's all right. How long has it been? It's probably been about, I think 2009 I left the church. So what would that be now? 19. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years ago.
13 years.
I think.
Wow, so interesting.
Yeah. But I'm gonna do an episode where I talk about that. So
cool.
Yeah. So you'll have to tune in.
I'll have to tune in.
And then we're getting to the end of our hour. And I just have 2 more questions for you.
Go for it.
Okay, so it's your birthday. Let's pretend when is your birthday, by the way?
9th of March.
Ah, what is your star sign then?
Pisces.
Pisces, nice.
Emotional roller coaster.
The best people always are, though. Okay, so I want to know, imagine it's your birthday and you've just blown out your candle. What have you wished for?
I remember when I was younger, I'd never wish something about myself because I was like, my wish could save so many people.
Oh, wow. So you've always had such a big conscience for...
Yeah, I think I was a really big empath as a child.
Big empath. Massive.
Probably from my mum too. My mum's a big empath.
Yep. And she's like imparted that and grown that.
Yeah, I definitely would like wish that people would recycle stuff when I was younger.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
I love that.
I would say for people to do what makes them happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
If that's safe and nice to other people.
Yes.
Do what makes you happy, but with limitations.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. I love that.
I think everyone should get that opportunity.
I love that. And then 3 things you're grateful for.
I am grateful for my wonderful partner.
Yes.
I am grateful for my family, and I'm grateful for the life I'm living.
Awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Jen. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. You are such a ray of sunshine. I have felt I feel like you have coached me through this podcast. You've put me at ease. You gave me things to focus on. I was like, yes, I'm doing that right now. I'm looking at my notes. I need to be here with you. This is where the magic is. It's you. You're the magic.
You're the magic.
So thank you. Thank you.
No, it was so nice and natural, and I'm looking forward to listening to the other episodes.
I can't wait. And where can people find you, and what's coming out, and what have you got coming up?
People can find me. What is my Instagram? It's Leggy Jen, isn't it?
Leggy Jen.
I changed it recently. Leggy_Jen.
Yes.
You can find me on there. And also Art for Earthlings, which is, let me just have a check.
Amazing.
Art for Earthlings is art_for_earthlings.
Yep.
And then we didn't really talk about it, but I also have a vintage clothing business.
Yes.
That's all the vintage things.
Oh, okay. Well,
Fetch Vintage.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
And have you got an online shop for Fetch?
Oh, just on Instagram.
Just on Instagram store, so you can buy things off that?
Yeah. We just post photos and people buy them off there.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Leggy Jen. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been so nice. It's been so challenging, but this has been my crowd of people. Wave, everyone.
Hello.
Amazing. Yeah, the boys. This one's for the boys.
Oh my God. How fun is that?
My brother, I had to convince my brother that you did not want to do a podcast with him and that you were talking to me.
Has the family got a few show ponies, hey?
Oh, yes, they do.
I love it.
My brother and my sister.
Amazing.
They're all here at the moment.
Amazing. Oh, well,
thank you so much, Jazz.
Thank you, Jen. And listen and subscribe and follow and all the things. It's been a pleasure. Cool. Bye, Jen.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening, everyone.